Hi friends, my name is Pankaj and in today's video we're going to talk about how to pass RTA final road assessment test. The final road assessment test lasts for maximum 10 to 15 minutes, and in those 10 to 15 minutes the examiner mainly look for three important things, which are: first is your confidence, the second one is your control over the vehicle, and the third one is your knowledge about the rule and regulation. So if you have all these three things, the knowledge of traffic laws, the confidence, and the control over the vehicle, you have the better chance to pass the exam. Before we start talking about how to pass the assessment test, let's talk about how the examiner can fail you in the exam. The RT examiner can fail you in two different ways. One, if you do any major mistake, and the second one, if the examiner notice more than 12 minor mistake during the driving test. And trust me, these 12 look too many, but these examiners are very skilled and qualified. This is their everyday job, and they can notice small mistakes. So let's go through the list of the mistake which you should avoid while giving the test. Now I'll take you through the same checklist which RTA examiner have with them. So you need to make sure you avoid these mistake during the test. Driving, check. Once you set in the car, what you need to make sure that you adjust your seat and mirror, and you need to make sure that you wear the seat belt, as well as you need to make sure whoever is sitting with you, including the examiner, or if you have any other student sitting in the back seat, is wearing the seat belt. Mistake which you can do with the mirrors are: does not check sometime or check too late, do not check on line change, do not check before signaling or braking. These all are very much important, and you need to make sure that you do check the mirror before signaling or braking or on line change. Okay, so what are the mistake you can do on lane change? The first one is does not take an available gap. So if you see there is an available gap, you need to take, do not hesitate. Okay, and don't squeeze into a small gap. Reduce speed unnecessarily, don't do that. You need to keep your speed steady. Or if your car is shaking, that should not happen. You need to have a steady movement. Do not do a head check, that's very much important. Whenever you're doing a line change, you need to do a proper head check. Sudden swearing is another part. For the signal, what are the mistake you can do on the signal? The first one is do not signal sometime, signal too early, signal too late, does not signal on lane change, signal in the wrong direction. So these are the points which you can do wrong while giving signal, but you need to make sure, okay, even if you do one mistake, you don't repeat it again and again, because if the same mistake you do more than two times, that becomes a major mistake again. Let's talk about the approach. What are the mistake you can do in approach? Is first one is very hard braking, or too fast or too slow. So whenever you are approaching a signal or a stop sign, you need to make sure you are approaching smoothly and you are not too fast or too slow. Next one is while overtaking. Overtake in a restricted area. Never do that. Never take a overtake. Never overtake in the restricted area. Does not overtake if necessary. This is one of the mistakes due to which lots of people get failed. Because what happens is whenever you are driving, the instructor will not ask you to overtake. The overtaking depends on you. If you see the driver in front of you is driving below the speed limit, let's say if it's a road of 60 and you have another truck which is driving in front of you at a speed of 40, that's the time you need to overtake. Even though if the instructor doesn't ask, you have to do a overtake and come back to your same lane. But you need to make sure you do not overtake on a curve or near the signal, and you need to return to the correct lane. Not returning to the correct lane is again counted as a minor mistake. You can get failed for this as well, because it depends upon the examiner. The next one is position stopping. Okay, so if you stop unnecessarily twice, that's counted as a mistake. Stop the vehicle with vehicle wheels on the stop line. So you need to make sure you stop before the stop line. Not stopping in the right position, not using the handbrake when necessary. So you need to make sure you use a handbrake when you are stopping the car at a signal. Vehicle roll back forth when moving from the position stop. Next one is your judgment, something mistake which you can do related to your judgment. The first one is does not reduce speed and look into the correct direction, which is very important when you are turning to the right or left. Does not give way to pedestrian. That's very, very important. If you do that mistake, it will not be counted as a minor mistake. That becomes a major mistake. Does not give way to vehicles. Stop the vehicle unnecessarily. Turning left. Does not start from the correct lane or line of traffic. Does not follow the road marking. Does not finish turn in one lane. So these are the mistake you can do for turning left, and the same thing goes for the turning right. The instructor is going to observe you very closely, and don't think he cannot notice. He can notice the small. 11th one is the progress. Drive too slowly for the road condition. Drive too fast for the road condition. Does not move up after stopping. Slow hesitation. These 3 points are the major one. Almost everyone get these points. Drive too slowly for the road condition means at a road of 60 you need to drive at a speed of 60. You cannot drive at a 40. Yes, if there is a traffic you can do that, but in a normal condition, if the road is clear, you need to make sure you drive at a speed of 60. Or now you need to make sure you follow the marking. If you're driving at a road of 40, you need to make sure you drive at a 40. Don't exceed the limit. In a road of 60, you can exceed the limit by 5 to 10 depending upon the condition of the road, but in a road of 40 or 25 you cannot exceed the limit. You need to make sure you maintain your speed in those limits. Next one is drive too close to the curb. You should not do that. You need to make sure you drive in the center of the line. Don't touch it on the right or the left hand side. Okay, drive either too far right or too far left of their lane. Drive in two lane, not using the correct lanes. uh, Not using the correct lane means when you're giving a test, you need to make sure you always drive on your right hand side line until unless it is turning to a different direction. The last one is gear uses. Use an incorrect gear. This is mainly for the manual one. Does not change gear smoothly. Switch to neutral while moving. Gear still engaged after stopping. Stall the vehicle. So that was a video on final road assessment. Please write your comments or suggestion on the comment box, and don't forget to like or subscribe to my channel. Do watch my next video on the most common mistake you need to avoid while giving a final assessment.